Hello and welcome to Learning From, a YouTube series where I talk about different TTRPGs and their GM sections to see what are they doing special, what kind of advice do they give us to implement into our home games and take it from this game and maybe develop our own style and ideas further. So today we are looking at this heart, this city beneath. You will see a picture very soon here, and this one is the Echo edition. I got me that one because I like the game very, very much. It's actually one of my favorites, so I spent a little extra on that one. So this game is written by Grant Howitt and Christopher Taylor and published by Rowan Rook and Descartes, and it titles itself as a story game or story RPG, which has a very, very strong focus on the narration and the story part of the game. And it has quite a lot of very good advice. It is a rather thick chapter, the GM's chapter, and it covers many aspects of the game. And I am not sure if I would have been less stressed 20 years ago as I started out running games if I read this book back then. But in hindsight, it feels like I could have profited from it. So, as I just said, there's plenty to read, plenty to see, and I had to pick some highlights from it, and I stuck with the basics that are in the beginning of the chapter. But don't worry, there's so much more. There's so much more to explore, so after we're finished, maybe go over there and have a look at it. First of all, there is one underlining message to all of you, and that is delivered throughout the casual tone of the text and by the authors regularly telling you to basically relax. I like to pick the example they're giving us with you don't have to talk like a 19th century writer to run a game. And to be honest, if you're meeting with your friends at the table and you start lamenting on like the narrator from back then, that might be alienating to them and make a strange atmosphere at the table. So maybe don't. Just talk as you usually do. And I think that takes a lot of pressure away from the GM. And it kind of deconstructs the mystical air we GMs like myself try to or do shroud ourselves in. And this makes the game more approachable. Second highlight is stop planning. And this translates to stop worrying about preparing your game sessions for hours, days, or weeks maybe. It's always good to have a frame of what you want this game to be like and to have a few ideas for places you want to visit, but basically don't go into the details. Especially if you have run any number of games, you know that at least at minute 5 or so, your players will, without fail, derail your carefully stricken plot and narrative, and they will just do their own thing. And that's totally okay. And you don't have to try to rein them in if there's still something interesting to explore. And in 98%, there will be something interesting to explore. But now you're asking, well, how am I supposed to run a game like this if I'm not prepared? What's going to happen next? This is a brilliant question, and actually our third talking point: ask questions. I think I saw this first in a few Powered by the Apocalypse titles, but it is in many other games incorporated too. Ask your players. You don't have to have all the details worked out, as we just established. If you don't have them, ask your players. You're unsure about what effect to give to an NPC as a consequence to some actions they did? Ask your players. You don't know how an NPC would react to a player character? Well, ask your players. The cool thing about Heart is that it doesn't stop at, well, ask your players, but it gives you a neat technique that actually helps a lot with the process. First, make a statement and then ask your players for clarification. Like, you've never met these guys before, you've only written with them. What are you expecting to find here? And how is it completely inverted when you make contact? And this already starts a conversation, gets a conflict going, gets a story going, and your players will fill in the blanks. And the neat part is, it is related to their characters. And that's awesome. They will tell you things that they are interested in exploring, and then you just go on from there. That is so much fun. I use ask your players a ton of times in almost all my games. I ask specifics for a location. I ask how they know a person, how something has changed, what they don't like about a situation, what's strange to them, what's unusual, and then I can build up from there. That is an awesome technique to do. So we are still not fully into how we are creating a story. We have more help, more advice. And the next one is give them what they want. A good GM anticipates what the players want to see and experience and gives that to them. And there are several ways to do this. First, they chose a class. And the book gives a quick overview to each class and tells them, if you are interested in protecting the group, wearing a steam-powered locomotive armor and wield a giant hammer, well, the Vermisian Knight is the right character for you. And they do this with all their classes. And so if a player picks a class, you know what kind of story they want to explore. And the very, very neat thing about Heart is there is a page in the GM section that gives you further input into, well, you have a Vermisian Knight in their party. These might be the things that you can bring up to have to interact with these players. I saw this in a different game that I personally ran, Changeling, where a player gave me actually a list after I sent them a bunch of questions before the game started, and they gave me a list. If you want to involve my character, these are the things that I am interested in. This will get me into the spotlight. And I was like, this is brilliant. I need this in every game, and Heart has it baked into its DNA already. Then there is a second way to get input in what the players want. And that is the callings they chose, the reason why they are going on to a dungeon delve. There are certain events and activities the players want to see, the beats. And the players choose 2 beats at the beginning of a session or at the beginning of the game. And these can be things like one of my favorites actually is kick somebody off a tall structure. They really deserve it. And if you see this on a character sheet, you know, okay, I need a really high structure. I need a bastard to be kicked, and I need some sort of conflict. And you already have part of your evening covered alone with this beat. Now you have probably more than just one character. So if you have a group of 4, you have 8 beats that you can integrate into your narrative, into your story. And this is awesome. You have already 8 talking points for your mystery. And you don't have to worry about, where do I get my input for the game? Now, you can pick, there is an entire chapter about locations and journeys to make, where you can pick and choose from and get NPCs and ideas. So you're not in the open. You don't have to make up everything on the spot, but you know what to look out for before you have your game started, and you can know, okay, I will pick this location and that location, and with the story beats and the story developing with your players, you know, okay, I can use this aspect and bring it to the forefront. Okay, and since I already said you find the beats on the character sheets, this is a personal addendum. Treat the character sheets as a wish list. If somebody has a high rating in a certain skill, or no, they don't have ratings, but if somebody trained kill, you know they want to kill stuff. Give them something to kill. It doesn't have to be easy. That's unsatisfying, but give them something to kill. There's also an entire section about how to make fights interesting, and I love it. Also, look at the things that they aren't good at. They haven't chosen. This is also something to explore. The character sheet is a resource for the players and the GM as well. This is a horror game. Everything that's on the character sheet can be used by both sides. Just remember, you're not the mortal enemy of your players. Okay, and now comes point number 5, which is write everything down. This ties everything together. You write stuff down to bring it back later on. Instead of making up new characters, new places, new rumors, and the like, think about how you could reuse them. You won't use everything, that's fine. But returning elements make a story more believable in a way, even though if it seems rational to have 50 different NPCs showing up, each one at their own location, never to return, because that's how life works. It's more satisfying. It is more realistic in a narrative sense that people come back. They are probably changed. They're in a different point in their life, or just this day, but everything feels more connected. And this leads to a more satisfying end and a more satisfying story. And if you have ever run a murder mystery, you know that every piece of information that you give the players will be used in their investigation and in their idea of what actually happened. And this is, if you bring back a detail a second time, it seems so much more important, and the players will make connections, even if there aren't any, but they will make connections, and it will be so satisfying if they are right sometimes, and sometimes maybe not. But follow these ideas and give them room. Bring back ideas that are already in the game instead of making up new stuff all the time. This is also helping with being less stressed. Okay, I think I'm already talking for too long already. So what else can I say? It is a beautiful book. It provides you with everything you need. It doesn't give you just the ideas or the rough pointers on how to run a game. It provides you with plenty of places, plenty of NPCs. It keeps things simple on the rules side and enables you to creativity. And that's something I very, very much love about it. I am probably showing you right now, here or there, how a page of the landmarks look like, locations that you can visit. And yeah, it's tremendous. So, how to summarize? Following the advice in the book, you can become much more relaxed in running your games. And even if it's a little bit niche, I think I didn't tell you what Heart the City Beneath is actually about. It is a body horror dungeon delving game where you play a group of desperate people who are slowly struggling towards their ultimate zenith potential fulfillment. But at the same time, they're stumbling through a subterranean city that's changing all the time and warping itself into a flashy nightmare, and that will try to give you what you want, and if it has to kill you in the process. And so even if it is a little bit more niche, I'd recommend it to beginner GMs and to people who are maybe close to burnout, because that's a thing that happens to GMs a lot. And it might change their perspective and give them some rest and help. So maybe you have ideas and techniques how you reduce your stress levels as a GM, and maybe you can give some advice in the comments below. But aside of that, I hope we will meet again soon. Next time, I am not entirely sure what we are going to see then, but I have a large pile of games and books that I want to talk about. So see you soon.